changes or?
I move we approve as presented.
Second it.
Very good. Excellent. All those in favor? Aye. And opposed? Excellent. Okay, great. Councilman Parkhurst, are you ready for the council liaison report, or would you?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So Tuesday night we had our first meeting of the month, and the thing that is most relevant to the Planning Commission is that there is a second units ordinance that we need to bring forward. Basically, there's some differences between state and city laws due to a state law passed in 2019. And so City Council provided some thoughts on it that were given to staff. Then we are looking for your input on how to look at second unit development. And so there's a couple of things we looked at, things including density bonuses and a waiving of fees and a couple of other things. And so I think there'll be a staff report coming through on that. And Director Gonzalez, is there anything you'd like to add to that that was part of the discussion that I may have missed or misstated?
I believe one of the topics that we addressed was whether we should apply some percentage of public facilities fee. And the direction that we received from City Council, they still believe that that would be a disincentive, and decided not to include that as a policy moving forward.
And that's all I have to report. Back to you, Chairperson.
Great. All right, so this brings us to the community input section. This is where anybody in the community can call in and bring up a topic that is not on tonight's agenda. We'll give you 3 minutes to call in and let us know if somebody's standing by. Well, as we're winding down, I'll just let the clock tick down and we'll just maybe start the public hearing with the modification to design review permit. And anybody want to start with making some disclosures, all that kind of stuff? Anybody? Go ahead, Peggy. You're muted still.
Yeah,
Go, there you go.
I went to the site yesterday afternoon and met with the owner. So, walked the site.
Very good. Anything,
I've-
Tom? No?
Yeah, I've previously been to the site. I did not go to it during that window. I've been by it quite a few times.
Right. And even though I live in the area, I went by, but I didn't stop, or other than I'm pretty familiar with the area. All right, very good. So we'll start with start the meeting. Is there a presentation from staff?
There's a presentation, PowerPoint presentation by Senior Planner Claire Lim.
Very good.
Good evening, chairs and commissioners. The Planning Commission this evening will be reviewing a modification to design review permit 1704 for the property located at 62 East Carter. The property is located on the west side of Carter Avenue as it curves towards the North Baldwin Avenue. It is a 0.38 acre lot, and it is located in the R1 single family zone with the residential low density general plan land use designation. The Planning Commission has reviewed and approved the project on the property to develop a single family residence and renovate the existing structures back in 2018. Since then, the ownership has changed, and the new property owner wishes to modify the approved application to construct a 2,330 square foot single story, single family residence, including a subterranean basement and a garage to be excluded from the gross floor area calculation. The total gross floor area is 4,161 square feet, including the existing structures. Pursuant to the code, any structure addition to a lot greater than 11,000 square feet in size, resulting in a gross floor area greater than 3,500 square feet, shall be subject to granting of a design review permit, and the project qualifies for a categorical exemption under CEQA as it involves additions and alterations to a single family residence. Here are photograph of the site. The property is under rehabilitation. At the top row, you can see is the photos taken from Carter Avenue, looking south and looking east. The bottom row is a picture of the Wayland House under rehabilitation, and the one on the right, bottom right, is the Wayland Art Studio that is being renovated. Photos of the adjacent neighbors. The one on the top left is looking towards northeast. There is a two-story residence, and the next picture to the right is looking southwest. And the bottom row, is the one on the left, is looking south towards the neighbor at a lower grade. And the one on the left, on the right, I'm sorry, is the picture of the oak tree that's located in the center of the property that is being protected and remain in place. So the proposed project remain in compliance with all city zoning regulations. The total gross floor area was reduced by 4 square feet from the last proposal. The building height is 22 feet 9 inches, and the setbacks are 25 feet from the front, 26 feet 3 inches from the south, and 18 feet 2 inches from the north, and the rear remains unchanged. The proposed project are still providing 2-car garage as is required. The applicant prepared a neighborhood analysis which remains similarly to what was proposed before, as the overall gross floor area is reduced slightly. The proposed site plan and modifications, so this is the side-by-side comparison from what was previously approved versus the proposed revision. So the site plan is showing the building footprint has been modified to a functional rectangular shape. And I have the next, the enlarged site plan here that shows the required setbacks and the proposed driveway accessing from the Carter Avenue to the east, and the location of the protected tree. The proposed residence is approximately 62 feet away from the Wayland Studio, and both of the Wayland Studio and the ADU, the Wayland House, are being renovated as what was proposed before, and proposed and approved before. Here is the landscape plan that the applicant is proposing to include native drought-tolerant plant palette. They propose ground covers, stone pads, and pavers. The existing oak trees and the sycamore tree are protected under city tree ordinance. And the applicant has also provided an updated arborist report outlining the specific protective measures. A permeable paving system is incorporated in this grading LID plan. There is a series of drain pipe and catch basin system that will lead the water on site to a dry well located at the lowest part of the property at the southeast area. The dry wells are proposed to be installed under the driveway surface, and all the utility will be underground, which is also included in the conditions of approval. The proposed project involves the construction of a new 2,330 square foot single family residence with an open floor plan that consists of a foyer leading to a living room, kitchen, and dining. And to the north is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a pantry in the center and an elevator leading to the subterranean level, which include a storage area, a laundry area, a bathroom, and a 2-car garage accessing from the Carter. The application provided sections with grade profile, sections that cuts through north and south, showing the garage, the living room, and the bedroom. The sections on the lower part cuts through east and west, showing the side profile of the garage, the kitchen, and the storage basement. And also we have another section looking south, cutting through the kitchen. Here's the color rendering of the proposed project from the street view, showing the house is situated among mature landscape in the neighborhood. The project exhibits character of a mid-century modern architectural style by proposing a asymmetrical roof structure with shed roof on one side and a flat roof on the other side, and finished with clear story windows. The architecture demonstrates a clean line and angular and horizontal composition with large expanse of full height window. The exterior wall features a nickel gap siding responding to the Wayland studio with vertical panels, and the rear is wrapped with horizontal siding, which echoes the Wayland house. The fenestration is balanced with large expansive window vertically and horizontally. So the horizontal clear story is in the area that is less public. The exteriors are finished in the color sage green in a deep dark hue and natural stone color that blends into the surrounding and the natural landscape. Here's are the elevations. East elevation is the street facing elevation. You can see that the cantilever deck is cantilevered over the garage, and the garage is subterranean below the natural grade, which utilize the grade change at the southeast end and minimize visual impact from the street. The south elevation shows the proposed residence with a low profile single story design, which minimize visual impact from the neighbors to the south and preserve the privacy of the neighboring properties. This is the west elevation and the north elevation. The west elevation shows the slope standing seam metal roof and the flat roof that is consistent with mid-century modern architectural design that complements the shape volume of the Wayland studio. And the fenestration system maximize natural light source from the north and the west, where it opens up towards the central courtyard. The north elevation is viewing from towards the two-story neighbor to the north. The proposed project complements the low profile, single-story horizontal massing. Here is the side-by-side perspective rendering from what was previously approved and what is proposed now. The top row is viewing from the street, and the bottom row is taking it from the Wayland studio. Design review finding has to be made in order for the Planning Commission to make a decision. The proposed project is consistent with general plan destination of a residential low density and the R1 standards, including the setbacks, allowable gross floor area, angle plan, and the height requirement. The proposed residence is a low-profile structure that will not unreasonably interfere with the use, possession, and enjoyment of the surrounding and adjacent properties. The proposed project conforms with all R1 requirements, and its height, bulk, and scale of the addition does not appear uncharacteristic. And the 2-bedroom single-family residence has been size proportioned to the neighborhood. The total floor area, while it's above average in this neighborhood, but it's still within the top 1/3. The proposed residence reflects the scale of the neighborhood and will not visually overpower or dominate the neighborhood, as it's situated among mature vegetation, and the addition is well proportioned at the height of 22 feet 9 inches, and it's well below the 25-foot maximum allowable height. The proposed structure is situated slightly higher than the adjacent property to the south due to the natural change in grade. So it will not unreasonably interfere with the public view or the views and privacy of the neighbor. And the project is designed in mid-century modern style, which complements the existing structures. And also the proposed exterior material include large expansive glass door and window that are compatible with the existing structure in order to achieve a coherent project-wide design, regardless whether the same are public visible. The project is not seeking additional relief from the development standards, and the proposed project is thoughtful and noteworthy architecture that is not a cookie cutter plan. The project responds to the topography of the site and protects the existing sycamore and coastal live oak trees, and incorporating them into the existing structure. The project is demonstrated a adaptive reuse, preservation, and restoration of a historic structure. And it preserved the natural landscape to the extent possible and minimize grade change and retaining the protected specimen trees. Siting of the structure is in keeping with the landform, and as to maximize open space, public views, and neighbor's view and privacy. The project proposed high quality architectural style and architectural detail building material that is compatible with overall project design. And the project will be compliant towards the low impact development and water efficient landscape ordinances. The Planning Commission tonight may approve the project or approve the project with modification, or deny the request by identifying the findings that Planning Commission cannot make and the basis for rejecting those findings, or continue the subject project and provide directions to the applicant and staff. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission approve the modification to Design Review Permit 1704, subject to the conditions of approval in the Planning Commission Resolution 2113. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And we do have the applicant online with us as well, if you have any questions for them.
Thank you, Claire. Any commissioners have any questions of Claire?
Claire, I just wanted to clarify something you said. I guess there were two ways of looking at, because I guess when we look at the first floor only, because the basement square footage doesn't count towards our calculation, right? So that's where we see that they are actually below the average floor area. And then you mentioned that it's only when we calculate the basement square footage that they get into the upper third. Do I have that right?
No, so it's including all the existing structures. So it includes the Wayland house, the Wayland studio, and the new single family house. And adding those three houses, they're at the top 1/3.
Okay, so on Exhibit C, that's not listed there. You only show the single building. Is that right?
Yes, so the Exhibit C that the applicant provided only shows, the first one is only showing the first floor, and the second one is only is showing the basement plus the first floor. But both of them excluded the Wayland house and the studio.
And the Wayland house is considered an ADU in this project? So it would include square footage calculation as well. Are both of the units considered ADUs?
Only the Wayland house has been applied with ADU permit.
Okay, thanks for those clarifications.
Okay. The applicant, are you, would you like to make any comments or add anything to the presentation? You're muted. Oops, sorry. What did I do?
Okay. Can you hear me now? So, I thought Claire did a great job. We are very excited about this project and plan on doing our best in building it and try to comply with everything. Yeah, do you have anything to say?
The restoration of the Wayland home and the studio has, it's been difficult. It was quite a bit of work, but we feel that the property is very special. We feel very comfortable there. We've lived in Sierra Madre for over the last 12 years on Grand View, and we look forward to moving to Carter and enjoying that property.
Could I ask a question? Tom, did you do all the work on the Wayland house and the other building, or did the prior? Okay, so the prior owner, you transferred, because it looked like it was sitting there for the longest time. You guys took it as is and then were starting to work on the original restoration, and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are a construction company. One of our fields is we specialize in restoration. And we've done a number of restorations throughout the Los Angeles area. So
the previous owner had started just the foundation on the house,
the new house.
And that had to be completely redone.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. He was from Covina, as I remember, and this was going to be his last hurrah in the development of some sort. And then we saw no action on it as usual. So that's good. Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, that's pretty simple. Bring it back to the commission then. Commissioners, since we have a kind of a small, tight group,
Should we do public comment first before we bring?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I guess we can do public comment. I always forget that since it seems to have been silent the last 2 times. All right, so we will open this up for public comment, sorry, and wait 3 minutes.
We do have someone currently raising their hand. I will let them speak now.
Oh, terrific. Thank you.
All right, caller, you are live for public comment.
Yeah, can you hear me now, Bill?
Yep.
Okay. Doesn't look like my camera's working, but I just wanted to chime in. This is John Vanderbilt, 205 North Hermosa. I just wanted to kind of echo what Mary Rose had mentioned. Staff has been great, especially Claire and Vincent, because this was, as you can tell, kind of a strange project in the sense that, I was contacted in October and started working with Tom and Mary Rose, and they inherited a set of plans. And the basic task was, to proceed as quickly as possible on restoring the 2 accessory structures. And in the meantime, the idea was to kind of investigate potentially a better solution for the main house. And so I think we've done that, and I think Claire did a nice job kind of explaining the ways in which we've masked a lot of the square footage underground, which to answer Tom's question about the square footage is listed on that Exhibit C. So those floor areas we get for the surrounding properties only list the main dwelling. And so for the sake of comparing apples to apples, in the spreadsheet I put together, I only showed the square footage for the house itself. For the first figure, the 2,300, and then the 3,200 included the laundry room and storage and 3/4 bath and mudroom on the lower level. So I just wanted to make it clear that we weren't trying to cook our numbers. It's just that the numbers that we're comparing from adjacent properties only include the main dwelling, and that's why we kept it as only the main dwelling in that comparison that we put together. And if you have any other questions about some of the drawings or exhibits or the renderings, I'm here to answer those.
Great.
Thanks for that clarification. Certainly wasn't an implication of cooking the books. I just wanted to understand what all those numbers mean.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else waiting? We have how much more time left? Oh, we're starting over, I guess. All right.
You did not have any other callers or participants raising their.
They didn't. Okay. Well, maybe we'll just wait another minute or so. Like John was talking for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then we'll let it wind down here, and then we bring it back to the commission. I'm trying to get my screen here. Hang on. I wonder while we're waiting, could I ask Alex something? Are you there, Alex?
Yep.
Legal counsel. So the other structure, it's 1,100 and something like that square feet. They didn't apply for an ADU, but it would qualify, correct?
I couldn't hear your question. One more time.
Well, I'm sorry. The second building, which was not considered an ADU, or they didn't make an application for it, it would still pass even though it's pretty large.
Right. Yeah. And just to be clear, you can only have a residential structure can only have one ADU on the lot. You can't have more than one. So you could have an ADU and an attached JADU, but that's the reason why it couldn't be an ADU, because you can only have one detached ADU.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah, that reminds me of the clarification. Very good. All right. Are we okay with the time limit since we waited another 2 minutes to just move on? I'll tell you what.
Yes, let's go ahead and move on.
Sure. If anybody calls in the last 60 seconds, let us know, Oscar. Christian. So we'll move it back to the Planning Commission. Open it up, either Peggy or Tom, since there's only 2 of you.
Sure. I like the design of the first iteration of when we saw this, and I like the design of this iteration. As I recall, there was some dead space in the last design that in this iteration is now being used for garage, which is probably a much more clever design from a homeowner's perspective. So I don't have any trouble making the findings on this one any more than I did at the last one.
Great. Peggy?
It's a beautiful architect design house. I like it. I can make the findings. I could go through them one by one, but I think Claire did an excellent job of that. I agree with everything she said. And I especially appreciate the way the colors blend so well into the hillside atmosphere there.
Very good. And I agree. Most heartily agree. I think it's actually in some ways a better design, even though they're asking for more space underneath. In fact, as a homeowner, someone who's looking for, you know, sort of hidden space, I think it was actually, the property lends itself to that so well. I think it was almost a shame not to have all that. So I can make the findings as well. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve modification to design review permit 17-04.
Second it.
Very good. And seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Welcome. Good luck. All right, so that brings us to, let's see, gotta get back to the agenda here. Where are we?
Time to get a pool, darling.
Sorry.
Yeah, text John.
Okay, where are we at? All right. All right, so that, I guess, that just brings us to Planning Commission reports or from anybody in the Planning Department.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, Peggy? Yeah, me too, me either. Watch the Tour de France. It's exciting. Vince, anything from the Planning Department?
So we were, our next meeting is going to be held on August 5th. We were proposing to have a live meeting, but we will wait to see what the orders, LA County orders will be regarding COVID-19, whether we can meet indoors, fully masked. So we'll keep you posted on that. August 5th, we were planning a couple of items on that agenda. We wanted to give a presentation regarding the housing element, as well as the Meadows project at the monastery. Just a brief presentation really to inform everyone where we are in the schedule for both of those projects. We will also probably be bringing forward a discussion item, beginning discussions for the accessory dwelling unit ordinance. Eventually, we will have a public hearing before the Planning Commission, and we'll be following council's direction, which they discussed at last Tuesday evening's city council meeting. Also on July 28th, we will be holding a scoping meeting to give, on the housing element, to give the public an opportunity to provide input as well. When we launched the housing element and began outreach with the public, that was in the beginning of the stay-at-home order, so we held a Zoom meeting at that point. Now that we're lifting, hopefully, restrictions, we can have an in-person meeting. We might have to change the venue to outdoors again, but that's a pending decision that city council, city management, and the state are going to be deciding upon. I was also asked by Chief Armelin, Police Chief, if the Planning Commission had an interest in having training regarding active shooters. So city staff, some city staff, as well as I believe city council, had an active shooter training. He's proposing to be able to do that before the Planning Commission as a closed session item, also on August 5th. That would be held at 6 p.m. He would need about an hour for that training. And we would only do that if that was an interest of the Planning Commission. So I wanted to get your feedback on that tonight.
And also he said, I talked to the chief about it. He said active shooter and rowdy crowds generally. So how to manage a meeting when the participants are disturbing the meeting.
And do you think that he was referring to the commissioners being rowdy or the? So Vincent, yes, that is something that I would be interested in, certainly if that's being an offer extended to us.
Okay, so we'll include that on our August 5th agenda as a closed session item, and we'll begin at 6 p.m.
Great, and then, sorry, Director Gonzalez, I did have one comment. It seems to be a recurring theme from the public that they're not always aware of what it is that we're discussing. And I know that the city has multiple social media channels and newsletters that go out. And I was just wondering if there was some way to let people know when our agendas go out so that they can take a look and determine whether or not there's a meeting that might apply to them. I know that we've had multiple meetings on topics that then seem to come as a surprise to the public. And so I think it's a buyer beware. I think that people need to actively pursue their interests in what it is that we're discussing. But I think giving them notice or more avenues of notice might be helpful in alleviating some of that.
In particular for the Planning Commission, obviously we're noticing any public hearings, public meetings, or projects that are at a staff level, both with signboards as well as mailed postcards to the residents. All of our projects are also included on our webpage, our active projects. So you can go in and look at all the exhibits that you saw tonight and follow that through the process as well if someone wanted to catch up on where we stood on any of those projects. We don't put them on the Facebook page. I think I would be a little bit cautious to do that. So I would rather stick with just posting on the city webpage and notification as we do posting our agenda is available at various locations in the city hall, the library. And it's posted on the webpage, our planning webpage as well.
Very good.
Is the planning webpage maybe something that we can add? I know we've added to the bottom the general information, the cityofsierramadre.com/meadows. Can we add a link to that general page too, so that people readily have access to it?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We can easily do that. That way, if they're going directly just to the agenda, it's another opportunity and an easier opportunity than having to go through the city webpage and going down to that link. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Great.
Thank you.
Good suggestion, Tom. Thanks.
Yeah, that concludes my report.
Great. So, Tom, since you're here, I'll be gone August 5th. So I wish I was going to be here for all that stuff. I'm sorry. We're taking our only vacation in the last 2 years. So sorry to pick on you again. You get to wear the hat again, but hope you'll be around. Bob and John better be back.
I will double check and
Okay.
let Director Gonzalez know.
Or we'll have to elect, or Peggy, guess what? Yeah. Never mind. Okay, well, we'll hope for the
Sorry,
best.
I think August 4th is the date of our next meeting. Is that, oh, that's 2022. That's why I have the wrong date. That won't help at all.
No, it's, yes,
It is the 5th. Okay.
very good, thank you. All right, well, without any further ado, I guess we then adjourn ourselves to August 5th.
Okay.
Very much.
That's it.
Thanks,
night.
everybody.